Since the beginning, we fought each other like savages, faced nature, destroyed the planet, created killer machines and weapons of mass destruction with the disregard of life. We're headed straight off the cliff. Wait, is that an 8? Hey, what's up? Thank you for tuning in. It's Burner. Before we start off, I just want to go ahead and remind you to go ahead and subscribe with the bell notification. And after listening, go ahead and like or make a comment. And we'll be glad to go ahead and follow up on a response with you, because we definitely want to hear your feedback. So, all right, here we go. So what up, guys? Today's topic is conscience.
Yo, this is Hunter.
Hunter, what up, Hunter? I was wondering about the name situation.
The name?
Yes. Let me talk to him first, and then what I'm gonna do is
I have to come up with an intro for I already wrote down the information in my book. I'll show it to you. The breakdown why I came up with the name, because I do believe that there's a point where you do have to kind of like rebrand yourself, because your name that was given to you is my point. Your parents gave that to you because they wanted to name you something when you came through this portal. When you came through the portal, you're brought onto this earth. So there's a point where you go through a transformation. You kind of realize who you are. And you have to, I guess, rebrand yourself. You have to become this new person almost. So Hunter is...
No, that's too wide. It's gonna fall because the wind's gonna blow it down.
Hunter is my my alter ego almost. Not even my ego, but that's like my inner person. Mm-hmm. And Hunter 4D pretty much breaks down that the fourth dimension is our subconscious mind, right? Mm-hmm. So because that is our subconscious mind, for me, and this is my belief, of course, I like to dwell in the place of my mind to get certain answers that I believe that through our inner self, through communicating, we're able to get those answers. We don't necessarily, there's a lot that someone else can teach us, but there's a lot of times where we have answers and deep down inside, we have questions, and then deep down inside, they don't really resonate when we hear it from someone else. So we kind of dwell on those things, and that's what I'm referring to as the fourth dimension, and I'm a hunter of that realm. So I just like to search for my answers.
4D. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
So we're talking about how you say the word?
Conscience.
Your conscience. Yeah. So like when does that kick in? Does that kick in because you know right from wrong?
Are you referring to like your moral codes?
Yeah, no. Like if you're gonna do something, we're talking about your conscience. When I was saying I feel guilty for doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's I'm telling you my conscience. Now, would I feel guilty if I didn't know right from wrong?
What is right from wrong? Sticky question, right?
Well, right from wrong, according to you, then, because every man has his law.
Agreed.
So now my question is, when do your conscience does it kick in? Because
I mean, again, what is right from wrong? I'm asking that because at the end of the day,
whatever you consider.
I hear you. That's what I'm answering. So it's like at the end of the day, for me, where I like to just do things based off of one. You know when something's right or wrong, right? You have that moral code that when you know something's right or wrong. But there's also a understanding where you have to, I guess, I think the book of Matthew says, "Come as you are," or whatever. So it's like, I what I'm understanding, it's saying that, regardless of whatever your flaws are, just come as who you are in your true skin, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So if you're in a situation where you feel like this is what you're supposed to be doing, or you're not in the perfect situation, and you already have a decision to make. But as you mentioned, should I do this? I mean, if you have to ask yourself that question, then don't do it. And that's what I'm getting to. It's like, just got to live your life and just make the decisions you got to make based off of what you know is right. Sometimes certain things may feel a way, but we got to avoid those things. We got to avoid how we feel sometimes and just go with what we know. And if you have to question yourself, back off. So, in those times, that's when we kind of challenge ourselves, and then moving forward, then we look back like, damn, did I make the right decision? And you're already wasting time. Because now it's like you're putting yourself in a situation over something that has already transpired. The correct thing is should I do this again? Should I put myself back in the same situation to ask myself that same question? Because then you're just repeating yourself.
So your right from wrong, you can learn through experience.
Of course.
And through your experience, that's when your conscience can kick in for your next, or when you encounter a situation again. So you evaluate how it went the last time, and that's your consciousness working.
How often do we go through that? And that's my point. There's a point where we don't really realize that we're putting ourselves in the same situation regardless of the scenario. Or how we answer how we address certain things, whether it's a bottle of water or a bottle of liquor or our video games. Subconsciously it's the same decision making, but we're not trying to mix apples and oranges. Nonetheless, it's still things that we have to consume, and over time we have to pull the nutrients from that information, and then we're gonna, I guess, reap the plant's gonna bear fruit from that. Now, as I like to speak on in terms of the diet, no matter what, we can eat chips all day, or we can eat apples all day. Both of those things provide our bodies with calories, right? Now, here's the thing: calories can be good or bad. Yes, it's gonna make you full, but when it comes time for the body to pull the nutrients, one is gonna be deficient and one's gonna be just right.
Okay.
So either you're gonna live with the decision that you know is gonna make you, get you the value that you're looking for, or you're gonna keep questioning yourself. Damn, did I do this? Damn, did I do this? Damn, did I do this? Because of the lack of decision making. Just get it done.
So you mentioned that we end up doing the same thing, even though we know we've done it in the past and it didn't, do us any good, and we end up doing it again. What
from experience?
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So, in those moments, you will say our consciousness kick in and we choose to ignore them, or do we have hope for a different outcome?
So, it could be a little bit of both, or it can also be this. Speaking from my personal experience, I had a job that I was with for a very long time, but there was people who always had their opinions, and because I wasn't in a position to bypass their opinions and continue doing what I was doing to be the best version of myself, I can only see the negative doors that were open based off of the opinions that I was listening to, instead of paying attention to the positive doors that were open. So I think I think there are times where we are presented, whether our awareness, right? Follow me. Whether our awareness allows our consciousness to say, this is the right decision, this is the wrong decision. We just, based off of whatever we feel is the best decision, we then just go with it. And then in hindsight, fuck, did I make the right decision? Fuck, did I really do this right? Did I plan this out right? Damn. And that's what I'm referring to from my end. It's like, instead of me just putting myself in, and again, this was a repeat situation over the span of multiple years. So I'm looking at this situation now, again, in hindsight, if I would have just stuck true to what I was doing, which was just making that money, I didn't care about anything else. And in the first couple of years, I was climbing through different ranks, achieving different things. But again, there's a point where me taking certain opinions into the mix, instead of realizing that there's more to this pie than just this one little ingredient. I'm so focused on this one. I like macadamia. I used to like white macadamia cookies, right? So I would only focus on Subway's white mac cookies. I didn't even realize that fucking Miami Subs had a bustin' ass macadamia cookies. Or if I would have figured out how to do it myself, I could have went to Publix, one of these farmers market. I could have made my own white mac cookies better than all of theirs. I wasn't even thinking like that. Why? Because I was only stuck on all the negative shit going on. So, yeah, we tend to kind of only see the negative doors instead of paying attention to all the other options that are presentable, that are saying, hey, what about me? Hello.
But then how does that play into when we again? I don't think you answered. I don't think you answered directly the question, which is what causes us to ignore our consciousness?
I did. All right, let me rephrase.
But you're saying
we ourselves, based off of our different experiences and our lack in trust in ourselves, result to us in one, inexperience, and two, making those decisions based off of the inexperience.
Gotcha.
Instead of just going with what we know, not necessarily what we feel. Because like I said, you can walk in the middle of the road and you feel like you can make it across the road when you see this car coming, but you can't tell that this car is doing 100 miles per hour until it's too late. Boom, you hit. Now, some people could survive a hit. What are the chances of you surviving that 100 miles an hour hit? Slim to none.
But if you've done that before,
I'm going worst case scenario, of course.
Worst case scenario. If you've done a worst case scenario before, what will make you ignore, you know what I'm saying, your consciousness based on what happened prior?
How many times have you ever went gambling?
Yeah.
How many times did you win? And it was a high risk. You put, let's just say $50. That, to me, I don't gamble much like that. I'm not much of a gambler. But I'm only using it because in the times when I did gamble, I probably put like $50 up. Maybe I got back $20. But it was a risk that I knew I was going to take just walking into the building. Just us waking up as black men alone is a risk walking outside. But yet we walk out there free diddly willy, happy as fuck, whether we're trying to do this or do that, whether we're trying to build a business or we're just trying to get bitches, whether we're just trying to live our life or we're just trying to be low lives. It's a risk nonetheless. So what I'm getting to is there's a point where there's some people out here that's really living their lives because they doing what they know is right for them, and then some people are judging them. Whether it's someone's killing them, someone is killing, or someone is robbing or stealing. Who are we to judge? Who are we to judge someone based off of the negative things that they're living their life off of? Because they didn't see the positive in their life. You get me? So I'm going back to based off of our experiences lead us to make certain decisions. But that doesn't mean that there isn't positive doors open at the same time that we can.
So in general, people are not used to or
thinking
not
for
too many
themselves?
people. Not too many people try to expand their mind on the situation,
Thinking
to think outside of the box versus going straight after doing the same thing over and over. So we end up being focused on that one item, and because we're familiar with it, comfortable.
Yeah.
So we end up doing it over.
May I ask you a question?
When we know it's not right.
The human body's at least 70% water, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, what happens to water when it stays in one container and then doesn't move for far too long and in an open environment? It becomes stagnant, right? It attracts mosquitoes, a lot of different things. So what makes us think that the human body is any different? If we're 70% water, I find it funny how you could be sitting out here, right, for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then all of a sudden mosquitoes come out of nowhere. Like, where the fuck was this mosquito at 5 minutes ago? Over time, our pheromones give off these scents, and then they attract these things. Why am I saying all that? Because again, we should be aware of how our bodies operate in terms of nature based off of the decisions that we make. And because we lack the awareness of these things, we just go out here and just do things just because.
So our consciousness advises, hey, look what's happened in the past. Plus,
No.
Hold on. Taking what happened in the past, apply it to such, and our consciousness is supposed to tell us to do something different to keep moving. Like you said, if we're 70% water and we're stagnant,
so I don't believe okay. So remember now, you have to remember that there's two parts. Well, I believe there's three. I can't remember the third at the moment. But you have the conscious, subconscious, and I believe it's the super subconscious, right? So you have to understand that the subconscious mind is the active mind. That's the one that's always going. The subconscious mind, that's the one that actually is the reflection. That's the one that sits back and be like, whoa. That's the inner you. That's the one that's the one that I was talking about earlier. That I like to address as Hunter. That's the one that does that. But your conscious mind, no. It's a whole different thing, because that's the active one. That's the one that's really making those quick rational decisions instead of just addressing the subconscious mind like, yo, bro, what's up? Talk to me. What you think I should be doing here? Help me see which door I should really go through that's beneficial for me right now in terms of that's not what I want. That's what I believe we should be doing, but we don't. We just go off of what we feel is right, and our conscious mind. Again, sometimes the risk may be high, and it may work out a lot of times. But in the gist of how old you are, if you kind of like tit for tat, analyze. I'm pretty sure, based off of how we feel compared to what we know, we had the worst results when we reacted based off of how we felt.
Okay.
Now, sometimes, don't get me wrong, there is this thing called intuition, and that does tie into our feminine, which is a part of us, our feelings and our emotions. But again, as men, we shouldn't allow that to be our dominant way of thinking. We should be able to balance the two, but it's not 50-50. No. It should never be 50-50. You gonna say something?
Well, trying to stay on the right and wrong aspects of it. That was right or wrong. What makes us move, pretty much.
I was just speaking on, in our brains, there's this divine feminine and masculine principles that our bodies embody, incorporate, or that's embedded in us by nature. So that's why I was speaking on nature and how we could just be sitting out there and naturally it'll just attract mosquitoes because that's what's supposed to happen. Our body does this, but because we don't know, if we don't even come into the understanding or the awareness of why this is happening, we continue doing this and be like, why the fuck is this happening? What? Get away. Instead of knowing that, okay, now I need to come out here with maybe some repellent or some shit to protect myself because I know that my body gives off this pheromone when I'm exposed to the sun in a certain time frame.
In a way, too, I think our consciousness try to protect us. Because, for example, your mosquito analogy, right? If the mosquito continue to attack you, your mind is going to tell you do something other than what the fuck you're doing.
Well, you'd be surprised because in sometimes when I was practicing meditation, there were moments where I was really being attacked by mosquitoes, but I was just so focused in the meditation that they didn't bother me. I knew they were there, but I had to continue focusing on what I was doing, and it's like I didn't even realize they were there, right? And then sometimes people be around me, and I'm meditating, but I'm just in this blissful, at peace state. I'm just like, I'm here, but I'm just not talking. I'm just like I'm talking to myself, talking to Hunter, right? Yeah. So I'm dressing Hunter, and we're there talking or whatever, and I'm there just chilling. Hey, bro, you don't see that mosquito? Oh, what mosquito? Oh shit! Bam! I look at my hand, big ass red blood spot. Ask Carrie, she'll tell you. And shit is crazy. Again, I just be so into the meditation or into the mind state, right? Because meditation is simply transmuting your brain state from one state to the other, because you have there's like 3 different states that your brain go through. Alpha state, I'll look it up and come back because I don't remember that at the moment. But there's different brain states. Or even like when you're watching TV, your brain goes into a specific meditative state. But again, we don't look at it that way. We just look at it, we're watching TV. But I'm gonna speak on this real quick. So normally TV runs at 24 frames a second, right? So our eyes can see 24 frames a second, give or take. So because we know that technology is progressing and you can also cram in multiple frames and still put it on a 24-second, you could record at 60, 120 frames and still put it on a 24-frame timeline. Do you understand? So because of that, you can input different messages into one of those little frames. And because you know that the eye is only going to see 24 frames, the subconscious mind is only going to be aware of all those individual frames that the physical eye that's on a conscious realm, you see where I'm going with this? The conscious realm, the physical realm that we can touch, will be able to see. But our subconscious mind, because it's within us, that 4th dimension, it sees all that. But again, because our physical bodies have these limitations, it misses it. But because of technology, we're able to capture this stuff and slow it down and see these different things. So before, where technology was lackluster and it lacked future progression, they weren't aware of these things. 50, 60 years later, through technology, they're reliving the times of their parents, and then they're catching these things and they're like, yo, wait a minute, what is all of this? I'm only saying that because in terms of how we make decisions, again, it's based off of our physical realm and then our metaphysical realm. The metaphysical would be our subconscious mind. Metaphysical is to go beyond the physical, which is the physical realm. So that's why I believe the 4th dimension is that realm within us, because we're all one, we're all connected. I mean, you can find the same elements out here in the human body. It's except for, I think it's like 7 or 8 plant-based amino acids. which you can only find in plants, which is very interesting to me, because if that, I mean, that's past the point. I don't want to talk about that. We could talk about it another time.
Oh,
that
man.
diet conversations.
So let me
deep.
let me go ahead and pause this real quick.
Cool.
I'm gonna go ahead
I
and
got you.
thank you for tuning in. Let me go ahead and get the audio right for the next video, and I'll go ahead and post the second part to this. Again, please go ahead and remember to subscribe with the notification bell, likes, and go ahead and comment until I post the second video. With that being said, this is Burner. I'm out.